You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Bold fans. So we're absolutely excited for a fall wedding for Thomas, Forrester, and Paris Buckingham. And once it rolls around, I anticipate some shocking moments at their nuptials. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt. And now that the lunatic got body slammed by her aunt and hauled off by the cops, the front burner is open for another storyline, and this wedding needs to happen. So honestly, I anticipate it's probably going to be November sweeps when we finally get this Thomas and Paris wedding. I mean, why would Brad Bell pass up the opportunity to do a big ratings grab during sweeps with what has to be huge drama as Paris walks down the aisle to marry her man? I do see on Soap social media, everybody's asking, where is Thomas? When is he going to be back? It would definitely be nice to see him before sweeps, but it may not happen because Matthew Atkinson and his wife Brittany have a baby due very soon. So maybe he's gonna wait until after his paternity leave, or maybe they'll do this wedding thing and then he'll take the paternity leave. So we are definitely all, wondering, when are we going to see Thomas marry his bride? But when he and Paris do return to LA to get hitched at Eric Forrester's mansion, watch out. Here are 5 things I think would be fantastic to see happen when Paris and Thomas are ready to say their vows and pledge their love to each other. So the very first thing I expect, and this is, I kind of have these in order of explosion. So I do think Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes are going to check in with Thomas just to make sure that he's confident that Paris is the one he loves, the love of his life. He has no doubts. They just want to make sure he's making the right choice and that this isn't a reactionary thing. He's really over hope. I think they both hope that he is, but, that is something that the parents are going to want to check on. And so we might even get a promo or a cliffhanger episode where Paris or Hope or both at separate doors are eavesdropping as Ridge and Taylor talk to Thomas, and each of them would be hoping, of course, to hear something different. Hope would want to hear Thomas waffle or say, maybe I should call it off, and Paris would want to hear him make this declaration of love. And I absolutely do think that right now, as things stand, Thomas is totally committed to her and will tell his parents he has no doubts he wants to marry her. Paris will be reassured if she's listening, but if it's Hope that's eavesdropping, that might provoke her to do something over the top. And speaking of provoking her, I fully think that Steffi Forrester is going to expect that Hope is going to do something to try and interfere and ruin Thomas and Paris's happily ever after moment. So I think Steffi will tell her to stay away, like she's told her to stay away from her brother many times before. I'm betting, though, that Brooke is also going to echo the same demand, but for a different reason. I do think Hope's mom is going to want to keep her away from potential heartbreak of watching Thomas marry another woman when she still loves him. I do think that Hope might try to stay away from the wedding, but she doesn't have a lot of really good impulse control lately. So I think no matter what, she wouldn't be able to stop herself. So that brings me to the third thing. I think we could get some more of her hallucinations. This time, not about Finn. Back to the older ones. Back when Hope was obsessed with Thomas when she was with Liam. I could totally see them having Hope fantasizing or hallucinating, whatever you want to call it, that she's the one to walk down the aisle to marry Thomas. And here's what I think would be even more amazing. Think back to 2020 when Thomas had gaslit Zoe Buckingham into thinking he wanted to marry her, but the whole engagement and wedding was just a ruse to get Hope to interrupt and marry him instead. He thought he carried it off. Remember? You may recall Thomas had even made Hope a special wedding gown, and then Zoe and Hope blew him up at the wedding, and Thomas was heartbroken, and it was a whole thing. So I think it would be so twisted if Hope dug that gown out of the closet at Forrester Creations. I'm assuming it's around somewhere, maybe on the mannequin, and if she put it on and she showed up to interrupt the wedding and beg Thomas to marry her instead. I mean, how messy if Hope interrupts both Buckingham girls' ceremonies with Thomas, one because he was being shady and the other because she has been shady. So number 4, this next shocking thing I can see happening would be a follow-on to Hope showing up in the wedding dress that Thomas made her. You know, whatever's wrong with her may fully manifest as she makes a scene at the wedding, if indeed there is something wrong with her. But I know a lot of fans wonder if Hope's got a brain tumor, if she's suffering some sort of nervous breakdown, some other medical malady to explain her antics and her rapidly eroding self-control. I mean, for more than a year now, we have seen Hope fantasizing lustily about Thomas, even to the point of imagining it was him on top of her when Liam was making love to her. These hallucinations are visceral, almost physical in a way, and she's had them both day and night, at work, at home. Hope's gotten herself all hot and bothered at the CEO office and the design office. And then after Thomas rejected her the last time she was in town, we've seen Hope hyper-focused on Finn. Like all of that just transferred over to him. And she legit seemed to think that Steffi's husband wanted her. That's how real these delusions feel to her. So yeah, picture Hope in that dress, walking down the aisle, standing in front of Thomas with her back to his bride Paris, like really thinking she's there to marry him, totally losing it. If Hope was just being confrontational, Thomas would tell her, step aside, call Brooke over and say, get Hope out of here. But what if it's something more drastic, something more urgent? Like she steps up in front of Thomas, starts acting like he's going to marry her, and then she collapses. Maybe a seizure, if it's something neurological, something like that. That is one way that would definitely stop Thomas from marrying Paris and instead him calling 911 to get Hope some help, you know? And here's the 5th and final thing. Whether or not Thomas and Paris say I do, one thing that I think Bold and Beautiful absolutely must do for this wedding is one of those epic cake fights. Like if Hope's carted off to the ER or the mental ward, you know, maybe we have Brooke, Taylor, and Steffi all left at Eric's house. I could see a 3-way fight where Steffi and Taylor gang up on Brooke and slather her with 5 layers of frosted yumminess. If, however, Hope interrupts the wedding, but she's sent away, you know, I could see Steffi slinging cake at Hope and then Taylor and Brooke joining in. I think that would be fun, a 4-way cake fight. Plus, don't forget, we have a brand new Taylor, so Rebecca Budig needs to be properly introduced in just how bad the Logan Forrester lady rivalry is with a good old Brooke versus Taylor brawl. So no, I don't expect Thomas and Paris's wedding to go smoothly if it actually makes it to the stage of I do and man and wife. I expect lots of big drama, some interruptions, good stuff. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see happen and whether you want to see Paris go through with it and her and Thomas get married, or if he winds up with Hope getting another shot at him. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments. Please subscribe if you're not already following us, and definitely come back soon. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt talking Bold and the Beautiful with you 7 days a week.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.